Hello and welcome to session 14 of the 5-Minute Bible Guides. In session 13, we talked about some of the main genres or types of writing in the Bible and how they affect how we understand its message. In this session, we will look at the main themes of the Bible. Okay, so what are the major themes of the Bible? And while there's no absolute agreement as to what constitutes a major theme in the Bible, let me list what I consider to be 7 of its most fundamental ideas. And I'll freely admit that these are themes I have identified as a Christian. That may be a positive point for some, and I'm sure that that point of view will be a negative for some who may be critical of it. But then again, along with the Jews, it's our book. Anyway, here goes. The greatness, majesty, and holiness of God must certainly be included at the top of anyone's list of the main Bible themes. The Bible describes God as the creator, the self-existing one. He describes him as having personhood, as loving, as pure, true, all-powerful, all-knowing, and present everywhere. The Bible assures us that even though he is beyond human understanding and at times appears to be far removed from us, he can be known and is worth seeking. A close second in the top themes of the Bible would be the transience and lostness of human beings and the ultimate futility of human life without God. And although the Bible affirms that at times life can be fulfilling and even exciting apart from attachment to God, all of us experience frustrating, disappointing, and even tragic circumstances. When life seems smooth and relatively carefree, many people think, well, who needs God? But when life is hard or tragic or confusing, our need for him becomes much more obvious and compelling. A third basic theme of the Bible is God's commitment to and covenant with Israel as his representative nation. From God's call of Abraham in Genesis 12 right through the New Testament, God worked through the nation of Israel to redeem the world. Even though many times Israel was disobedient and difficult to work with, they did accomplish the purposes God had for them in delivering the scriptures to the world, modeling what it's like to know and serve God, receiving forgiveness and restoration, and bringing forth the Messiah as the Savior of the entire human race. God's desire for people to live wisely, lovingly, and righteously is a fourth theme. In the laws that God gave to Israel, and later to the instructions given to the church, the Bible gives a picture of what right living looks like and how to experience the good life. Under this theme can be found guidance on topics as diverse as honesty, how to treat people, marriage, family issues, how to handle money, stewardship of animals and the environment, and many other ethical issues that people struggle with on a regular basis. God's work to provide reconciliation through the Messiah is yet another core theme, beginning with vague references in the earliest books of the Old Testament, but growing in depth and detail. The coming of a great deliverer who will bring people back to God is a recurrent theme all through the Hebrew Scriptures. The Gospels introduce Jesus of Nazareth as this Messiah. They recount the circumstances of his unusual birth, his ministry, his crucifixion, and resurrection from the dead. The letters of the New Testament explain more fully his identity as the Son of God, his atonement, and how people may become God's children through faith in him. A major New Testament theme is the widening of God's redemption under the New Covenant. Hinted at in the Old Testament and the Gospels, the book of Acts and the balance of the New Testament explain how God's work through Israel to redeem the nations came to fruition in Jesus Christ. The book of Acts describes a few early bumps in the road concerning how Gentiles may become part of God's people under this new covenant. But once those issues were resolved in Acts chapter 15, the New Testament recounts the beginnings of the global spread of the Christian faith to include people from every language and nation on earth. A final theme is the promise of God's complete redemption in the future. As with others, this theme is present in vague form in the earliest books of the Bible, but grows in detail as the Bible progresses. The book of Revelation provides perhaps the culmination of this theme in its vivid description of the end of the present age and the coming of God's eternal rule over his people. Well, there are certainly other themes that could be added, but that gives a pretty comprehensive view of the big picture issues in the Bible. And I think certainly that most Christian Bible experts would agree with me on these selections. Well, in the next session, we'll be talking about a portion of the New Testament that people have often wondered about, the Synoptic Gospels. Till then, this is Dr. Michael Bogart for the 5-Minute Guides to the Bible.